So I'm gonna go do a little digging. Yeah, I can go buy the grocery. What do you need? Milk, eggs, bread. Are we having a blizzard, or are you making French toast? Well, milk, eggs, and bread is what everybody gets whenever there's an emergency, so I thought maybe we were having French toast. Oh. All right, baby. I love you too. No, I love you more. No, I love you more. No, you hang up first. No, you hang up first. No, you're the best. No, hey, I gotta go. Talk to you later. Bye. When'd you get here? Well, since you're here, I'm heading to a new permission. Pretty excited. I've gotten 2 new permissions here in the last week or so, and they're both super cool, and they both have a lot of potential. Went to the first one a few days ago, going to the second one now. So I'll tell you what, why don't you guys, I've got a little bit of a drive, so why don't you guys go watch the video from a few days ago at the other permission, and by the time you're done, we'll be about where we need to be, and I'll fill you in. So I will catch up with you in just a few minutes. So enjoy the other video. So we got a new permission today, and if you can see it, old house. It's actually built in 1873, and that's actually a secondary house. The landowner said that the original house was up in the front of the property, and it was a log cabin on a foundation, and they actually took the log cabin and foundation and moved it after they built this house. The log cabin's gone, but the foundation's still there, and now it's kind of a well house. But built 1873. It's currently a bed and breakfast, and the bed and breakfast is called the Queen and I, which is pretty cool. I think it's a cool name. But just got permission, pretty excited. Landowner was really cool about it. He said that somebody else had been out here before and didn't really find anything, but I think I would rather put my skills to the test with the AT Pro. Who knows what that guy came out with. But super cool property. There's an old barn back in the back of the property that the landowner says predates Civil War. Says the barn's not there, but the location's there and pieces are there. But there's also a beehive, which I want to be careful of. So we're gonna go dig around here, probably start back in the barn area and see what we can find. Bunch of animals, guineas and chickens and turkeys and all kinds of stuff running around. So this might be a super cool outdoor adventure. So beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky, and we're ready to go digging. You ready?
Yes.
All right, let's go have a cool outdoor adventure today. I don't know, we'll take it with us. So there's the old barn that the landowner says predates Civil War, and there's an old wooden spoked wagon. That's probably original equipment. And the back side of the house, there's chickens and turkeys and all kinds of junk running around yelling at us. So pretty cool. So there's that. We'll put it in the man purse and keep on digging. 80s, let's see what we can find. That is a fine looking piece of sheet metal. How about that? Looks like it came off of the gutters. Well, there we go. Let's keep digging. Right up next to the house, kind of running along the front of the house. Got a pretty good signal here. Was getting up in the 80s. Dug the plug. I haven't pulled anything out yet. Thought we would go through this together. It's in the plug, I know that much. Well, it's a coin. It's Penny. And it's not that old. Bummer. I'm gonna see if I can get a date off of it. $1970. Well, I was hoping for something old, being an old property, but gotta keep looking, right? So there we go. 1970 Lincoln Penny. Let's keep going. So I got a coin, not sure what it is. We're gonna clean it up and see. Oh, it's a wheat penny. Wheat penny. Don't know if you can see that. Let's see if we can get a date off of it. It's pretty chewed up. Keep looking here. This thing's kind of handy for those hard to see things. Unfortunately, it remains hard to see. So, Wheatie, a little older than the last thing I found, so we're going the right direction backwards. Keep looking. Let's see what we got here. High signal. I think it's probably a piece of this guttering, but we're gonna look for it anyway. Hey, look at there. That's a fine piece of guttering right there. I think I'll take that home with me. That's a good one. All right, let's look for some more. Glad you're back. I hope the other video was kind of interesting. I want to show you something out in this field. I'm kind of at a crossroads, and way back when, there was a town right here on this corner, and it's gone now. So now I'm trying to get permission to detect on that corner. And I'm almost there. The people that live on the corner own all this property over here, and they've given me permission to hunt this small little property that we're coming up on. And on that property, there used to be a house, and years ago it burned. Then there was a trailer, and apparently it caught fire. And the only thing left now is this well house that we're getting ready to pull in the drive. So there's that little well house. And I've got permission to detect here. Now the cool thing is that I'm just right down the road. I don't know if you can see it with this camera, but maybe a quarter mile down the road is the landowners that live right on the corner of where this little town used to be. And I'll try to put some pictures up. I've actually got some photos from the early 1900s of, I think it was a general store or post office or something. But it validates that location and that property and the fact that it did used to be a little town. to the south, there's another little town, and it's about 5 miles down the road. And to the north, there's another little town that's about 5 miles down the road. So this one was just a small little town right in the middle of 2 other smaller towns. The 2 other towns still exist, but the smallest of the 3 kind of fell apart. The only thing I'm afraid of is that with 2 homes, you know, a house and a trailer that burned, that this could just be full of nails and junk. But the goal is to get permission down the road. This might pan out. We'll just have to find out. So we're going to go see what it's all about. And the weather's kind of choppy here. It's actually kind of cool today. It's been really warm, and then it got really cold, and we have gotten a ton of rain. In fact, there's a lot of local counties that are under flood warnings and things because the rivers and the creeks are starting to crest, and so it's been kind of gnarly. And we're expecting to get more rain over the course of the next 4 days. So I've got one shot to get out and do some digging, and today's the day. It's going to be windy. There's nothing I can do about it. I'll do my best to try to block the wind. That way the audio is not horrible. But I wanted to get out and do a little detecting before this rain came. So I'm going to get my gear out, start detecting, and if I find something, I will, I'll get you in on it. So far I haven't found too much. Right over there's that little well house, and they mow back here, so where I don't know where the house actually used to sit, but I did find a burn pile. Those are always pretty exciting. And another exciting thing is when you find old pull tabs. That's probably a early 1980s model. It's good stuff. So we're digging around, taking our time. This is the first time I've ever been here, so just kind of scoping it out too. That's what the other video was too, just touching base, getting in the yard and digging around and seeing what we could find quickly, and then we can be more systematic about it next time. So I've just worked my way around the perimeter, and I'm going to work my way right in the middle and see if I might be able to find something. There's some barrels over there, looks like old burn barrels, so there's been activity here. Just need to find some of the stuff that they dropped, good stuff they dropped. And there's a, right over here on the other side of this tree, there's a little creek that runs through here too. So pretty neat little property. So we'll keep digging. So I figured we'd dig one together. Man, it's muddy, very soft. Signal on this one was kind of bouncing around. I don't know. So we'll just see. Nope, it's in the plug. I figured I'd do it because the wind kind of died down. If it picks back up, the audio will be horrible, so I figured I'd get one live dig while I could. Oh, there it is. What do we got? Let's see. It's like a nickel. It's not very old, I don't think. Yeah. It's like a modern nickel. It's a coin though, I'll take it. That's pretty cool. It means there's some promise here. Found a coin. We'll keep going. It was kind of cool. I don't know if you'll be able to see over my shoulder. There's a guy that's leaving, and it's actually the grandson of the landowners. And he was just keeping tabs on his grandparents' property. There's so many people that, I mean, they do things they're not supposed to do. They steal, they dump on properties, and just leave trash. And so he's a young guy, maybe in his early mid-20s, just checking in. I'm glad he was in a good mood because he's bigger than I was, and he could probably whip me pretty easy. But man, getting permissions is tough, and it's tough being brave enough to knock on doors. But when you get that permission and you can solidly say you have permission to be somewhere, it feels pretty good when somebody, you know, walks up on you and you have permission to be wherever you're at. So I encourage you, knock on doors, but then at the same rate, map out the properties. Make sure you stay where you're supposed to stay, and only dig where you're supposed to dig. And the fun part is that you end up building relationships with people. And when I first got here, I told you about the town that was down on the corner. Sorry about the wind. He lives across the street from his grandparents in the corner house that used to be the old general store in this little town. And I mentioned to him about coming down there, and he said no problem. So you just kind of use your relationships you make with these people and build on it. And so now I've got this little property that may not amount to much, but the big property that I really wanted to check out, now I got permission on one corner of it. So it's pretty exciting. So be brave, knock on doors, ask questions, be polite, be honest about what you're going to be doing. And most people respect that, and a lot of people will let you dig on their property. So be brave. Well, I pulled that plug, and it's pretty obvious what I got here. A spoon. Pretty exciting. Heck, that thing's new enough to use. Might go home and wash that baby up and have me a bowl of cereal. So that was kind of cool. I don't know if there's anything else in here or not. There we go. Spoon. Pretty exciting. Well, it's time to call it a night. Did not find anything too overly exciting. Bunch of junk. Modern nickel. But the really cool thing is that I'm trying to back out of this property. But even though that property didn't really pan out, and it may, you know, I'll come back and I'll check it out. It's worth digging on and really investigating. But it seems like there may not be much there. But what did happen is, because that guy came to check on his grandparents' property, it led to another permission. So, you know, if you're out digging and you see a neighbor pulling their drive or something like that, don't be afraid to go up and say something to them. And make sure you take care of properties, because one landowner might talk to another. And if they say, hey, that person there, they did a good job, they did what they said they were going to do, and they didn't tear up my yard, you know, one thing can lead to another. So I encourage you, as you're attaining permissions and you're going places, keep your eyes out for neighbors or anybody else that might happen to walk by. It was a good night. You know, the weather's kind of shaky right now. It's pretty cool for this time of year. Rain's on the way, but it was a good night. It was a good night to be out and get some fresh air and get out of the city I live in and spend some time outdoors. So I encourage you that get out and get some of these permissions, talk to people, build relationships, and you'll find that your permissions will increase over time. So if you're struggling there, keep working at it, keep talking to people, be polite, be friendly, and just ask. And if somebody says no, ask them if you can leave your name and number in case they change their mind. I'm a believer in talking to people face to face, not making phone calls. It's easy to say no over the phone, but when they've got you face to face and they can see who you are and that sort of thing, it tends to work out a little better. the sheriff. So anyway, get out, spend some time outdoors, get your detector and start swinging that thing. 'Tis the season. It's a great time of year to be out and about and spending time outdoors. And tonight, for me, there was only one possible way to have that kind of enjoyment. That was to get out. So I encourage you, get out, spend some time outdoors, take your family outside. You don't have to metal detect, just get outside and get some air. Get those kids out from in front of the TV and the video games and make them go play in the dirt. It's worth it. So encourage you to have a good night. Spend some quality time with your family. And when the opportunity presents itself, get out.